I love football.
More than you believe. More than you believe.
Now, I don't care what anyone says. This is the greatest sport in the world, and I, especially, love it. Now, the tactical side of it has always been fascinating. But lately I find myself delving deeper and deeper into the management side of things for both club and players. These include training, staffing, scouting, creating a club culture and identity, and even transitioning from one club culture and identity to another. And a bunch of other cool stuff, which we'll get into as time goes on. See, last season was quite fascinating. Almost like a masterclass or TED Talk on how to build a club. Everyone can agree that Arsenal, under Mikel Arteta, have come leaps and bounds from what they were 3 years ago when he took over. The same could be said about Erik ten Hag's Manchester United, who, just 2 years ago, were in utter shambles, but now seems to have a direction and a plan. Newcastle, under Eddie Howe, is another that have also seen significant improvements. Despite the oil funds, they have been methodical in their dealings, and are reaping the rewards on the football pitch. We can all agree that that was more than just tactics. And that got me thinking, how well does the real world translate in the best football simulation game there is? I'm not talking about that one. Definitely not that one. Now we're talking. So welcome to the technical area. Now, allow me to preface this by saying I am not here to tell you how to play the game, far from it. I'm just here to offer you something different, a different perspective if you may. I can't stand here and say it's unique because I'm not entirely sure that it is, but it is something different. See, I take real-world ideas and analysis from fantastic YouTube channels and websites, like 442, Rock and FM, Football Meta, Number 12, Tifo Football, Tifo IRL, Football Made Simple, AJ Analysis, The Purest Football, and more. Because these guys offer a lot that surprisingly translates pretty well in Football Manager. I'm well aware of the limitations of the game engine, and a bunch of other stuff, but there are a lot of sticks the game gets that it truly does not deserve, especially this iteration of the game. Like this.
Not quite grown into this game just yet. What is the keeper doing there? What's happened? Oh my god, let's go!
Many people think that goalkeepers are nerfed. However, that's not entirely true. But don't worry, we'll get into all of that in a different video. So please, like and subscribe. I'm going to need it. I know that was difficult. So thank you very much. Okay, now that that's out of the way, let's get into why we are here today. The aim of today's video is to shed light on ways to approach the game, building a club and a squad that can eventually compete. I feel obligated to mention that I am a student of Juego de Posicion. I think I nailed that. I'm not sure. If I did, please leave a like. If I didn't, leave a like and tell me in the comment section below. But essentially, I'm talking about positional play. Now, everything I'm about to tell you today would more or less revolve around positional play. But there is a lot to take from this video for everyone out there, irrespective of how you play the game. There are multiple ways to play the game. There isn't one right way to do it. But it is very easy to start off on the wrong foot. Like I said, I'm just offering you a different perspective. Maybe a realistic one, maybe? See, there are two different types of managers, ones that live and die by their philosophy, and ones that adapt or compromise. Well, there's usually a third, who's somewhere in the middle. They have their philosophy, but can be pragmatic depending on the demands of the game and the players at their disposal. The first manager usually has a plan, and their tactic embodies the philosophy they live by. They'd most likely tend to fit players into the tactic, rather than changing their ideas for the players at their disposal. If a player doesn't fit what this type of manager wants, they get sold for ones that do. The second type of manager goes the other way. They look at the players in the team and go, okay, how can I get the best out of every single one of these players? This type of managers have a tendency to fit their tactic to the team, rather than the other way round, all with the aim of bringing out the best from individual players, or, sometimes, from one or two key players. Now both ways are truly special, but my preference would be the first. See, FM23 is big on building a club culture and identity. You can see it in the board's expectations, supporters' demands, the press, and even your avatar profile has this. Yes, even you as a manager have an identity. So decide which one you want to be, and go from there. Once you're certain of the type of manager you want to be, you can now go ahead and pick a club. For experienced players, go nuts, and pick whatever club you want, in whatever type of save you want to enjoy. For a newbie, my advice will be the same as anybody's. Pick a club that you're familiar with. Or, you could pick any of the rich clubs in Europe's top 5 leagues, and just spend their money. Trust me, you're going to want to. This game can be brutal. Besides, you deserve that much. After choosing a club, the next thing you want to do is look at your staff. See, this is one part of the game that most people don't want to spend the time on, especially newcomers. No manager is an island. Therefore, the right backroom staff ensures that whatever ideas you are trying to implement are carried out by people of the same mindset. Yes, it is exhausting. But the truth is, if you take your time and deal with the necessities of the game, it makes the game that much easier, because you're laying the right foundation. Plus, the backroom staff have always played a key role in the game, and even more so in FM23 with the introduction of staff meetings. And so, the higher their attributes for those specific jobs you want them to do, the more trustworthy their opinions. And this goes for every member of your backroom staff, including physios. And yes, there is more to physios than just giving an estimation of how long a player will be out due to injury. So pay significant attention to the key attributes of your backroom staff in relation to the positions they will be filling. After all, these are the things they will need to be good at their jobs. For coaches, pay equal attention to their mental attributes, especially their level of discipline and motivation. You may need to consider their tactical and playing style as it relates to yours. I'll explain why in another video. There's one more thing. Irrespective of how good your backroom staff is, you still have to pick and choose whatever advice they give you, based on your tactics, philosophy, and the playing style you're looking to implement. Once you're done sorting out your staff, the next thing you want to do is identify core attributes that define the style of play you're looking to implement. Now, these attributes are not dependent on the roles and duties of your tactic, but rather, they are the fundamental attributes that define your team or the playing style you're trying to implement. A real-world example would be Pep Guardiola's City. See, last season, Pep Guardiola switched to having physical defenders. But still, despite having defenders who can tackle and have the speed to cover the spaces, they are all still fundamentally composed and good on the ball. You can see that irrespective of the demands of the position, roles and duties, a player under Pep Guardiola's Manchester City team still has to be very good on the ball. That is the core attribute of the Manchester City team. An in-game example is Liverpool under Jurgen Klopp. The team, and subsequent players signed, always have high values for aggression, teamwork, work rate, composure, stamina, and passing. There are definitely other attributes that can be identified as Liverpool's core attributes under Jurgen Klopp. The key thing is, it runs through the squad, including players signed. The concept of core attributes isn't something new in the community. However, it does hold significant importance. I'll explain in a moment. Now, I'm not telling you what attributes are important, because it all depends on you and the style of play you're looking to adopt. But for me, I usually use 10 attributes. 2 technical attributes, 6 mental attributes, and 2 physical attributes. But that's just me. Once you've decided on your core attributes, go to your squad screen, and create a view with these attributes in mind. The aim of this is for you to see how your players compare to your chosen core attributes. This is where one of the values of having core attributes comes into play. Based on your playing style and philosophy, they can help you identify players to keep, players that may be good enough for a short period, and players that need immediate moving on. The whole point is to build a squad in your image that can compete, and this is the first step to getting there. Once your view is set up, you'll need to decide on what the minimum value for your core attributes would be. The minimum value for your core attributes should be dependent on the league you're playing in. However, if you're playing in the lower leagues, the minimum value for your core attributes should increase as you move up the ladder. This enables you to remain competitive with every promotion. Another thing, unless they're quite high, you do not want to keep players with the same value across individual core attributes. Well, there are certain conditions when this is okay, but we'll get to that in a later video. With this squad view, you can see how far your current players are from the ideal value of your core attributes. In conjunction with players' potential abilities, you can estimate the possibility of these core attributes meeting your ideal value, or at the very least, your minimum value. From here, you can now look at other attributes and see how they fit into your tactical plans. Sound a bit too much? These will all get separate videos, eventually. And so, we have come to the end of part 1. In the second part, we will talk about tactics and training, as well as a few other things. Again, this is not the only way to play the game. I'm just offering a different perspective, based on real-world analysis. Feel free to check out those channels I mentioned earlier, and hopefully, I will see you in the next one.